Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you doing today? I'm so happy to be back for a new episode of the Stand Out from the Crowd LinkedIn show with me, your host, Darine BenAmara. If you're new here, welcome. I'm happy to have you with us today, and we have an amazing guest. He was a senior executive for prestigious organizations for quite some years. And he decided to quit and transition to follow his passion and a more entrepreneurial route. So before I welcome him on stage, as usual, let us know where you are tuning in from. We are happy to welcome you from all over the world. That's the beauty of social media. I know we have an audience in the US, in North America, in Africa, North Africa, Asia, Europe. So please let me know where you are tuning in from so we can welcome you. And without further ado, let's welcome Robert. Hello, my dear friend. How are you doing?
Hey, I am better than excellent.
Oh, wow. That's an answer. I like that. So, Robert, thank you so much for being live with us today. Robert and I, we have known each other for quite a few months now. We are LinkedIn friends, but we see almost each other like every day. We engage with each other content. We belong to the same also networking group. So there is a lot of beautiful things happening here on LinkedIn. So tell us a little bit more about you and what you do on LinkedIn. Let's start with you and LinkedIn. What do you do on the platform?
What do I do on LinkedIn? I mean, I just kind of show up and talk to people. No, I'm just uh, you know, that's a really good question. So I produce content every day, it seems like. And it feels like I'm doing a whole lot and people think I'm doing a whole lot, but it just seems like fun to me. So in the mornings, I might throw up a good meme or an infographic trying to be inspirational. And then I have a podcast that I run. And so I'll throw in clips from my podcast periodically. I have a live show that I do on Fridays. And so I'll throw in clips from my live show. But really, I'm just engaging with people on LinkedIn, trying to build a good community for myself personally and for my business. So for me as a person and for my business.
So tell us more about your business. Tell us more about that audit guy. Who is he? What does he do?
Yeah, so I've spent the bulk of my career as an auditor, and for some people, they shiver when you say that. They're like, "Ooh, you're one of those people that we hate." But but for me, the biggest part of it is you have to ask good questions, right? If you think about the name or the word auditor itself, it means to hear, and to really listen and almost judge. So what I do now is a bunch of different things. So I consult with companies as an auditor or as a business consultant. I also help people ask better questions. So I spent my whole career just really asking questions and helping companies save millions and millions of dollars. And I figured out there's a formula to it. And so that's a part of it. I help people ask better questions so that they can get better answers, so that you can make some better decisions. But I'm also a writer. I'm also a content producer. So again, I have like a podcast, a live show, another podcast coming out soon. So I do a lot.
You do a lot, and actually, you have another live show on LinkedIn with the ordinary guy or something about guys.
Oh yeah, the actionable men. That's
The
me.
actionable man.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good one,
me.
actually. I like it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you do. Yeah, we thought that LinkedIn would be a good place for men because men need to discuss certain issues and we need to discuss them openly. So every other week we have different topics. The first week we touched on toxic masculinity, right?
Yeah, I was there. I remember I
Yeah,
was there.
that was pretty good. And then this past week, what did we do this past week? Oh, we did Is the Public School System Failing Our Boys? So that was this past week. And then next week or the week after, we're going to do Men in the Family Court System.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
it's really
So
cool.
we're
Yeah.
not afraid to touch some topics that need to be discussed.
Yeah, no taboo, and I do believe like LinkedIn is the right platform to do it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So Now that we know a little bit more about you, what I have been teasing people with and what we want to know, it's about your journey going from being a senior executive to prestigious institutions to quitting to become an entrepreneur. And I found it very interesting, and I'm very happy that we can share your story today, because this is a question or a concern that I get from a lot of my clients or prospects or even community members, where, they are scared to, first of all, make that transition, because when you are comfortable and that you want to take a more challenging route, if I can say so, that can be scary. But another aspect of this also, and that I see is holding back a lot of people, is the fear of judgment, and especially from their existing network. So usually people come to me with the concern that, okay, I want to build my personal brand because I'm transitioning, I want to do something new. And it's happening a lot, especially due to COVID-19. A lot of people have realized that, okay, you know what, I want to do something different for myself, I want something different for my family, so let's follow my gut and let's follow my passion or do something else. But they are concerned by the way their existing network, especially a network that they have spent years and years of building, how they will perceive them, how they will judge them, how they will, meet this transition and this new person positioning herself or himself differently. So can you, first of all, tell us more about your transition and what was your aha moment when you knew it was time for you to make a change?
So here's what I will say. You should be afraid. I mean, it
If
is.
it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Who says that? I think it's Tony Robbins. I think it's Tony
Yeah, I
Robbins.
think it is Tony Robbins. Look, any transition in life is going to be scary. It's going to be filled with new adventures, new successes, new failures. And if you're not afraid, then yeah, something is wrong with what you're doing. But what I will say is, when you work in the corporate workforce, and I don't care where you are, if you're in the States, if you're in Canada, if you're in the UK, it's all the same. You find yourself at organizations, and some of them are really good because the products and services are things that you like and that you believe in, and then some of them, well, they aren't so good. But at the end of the day, you're an employee and you're working for someone else, and there's a lack of freedom and flexibility that you have at certain points in time. you know so you should be afraid, but you shouldn't fear it. You should think, what is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to do something that's going to do something good in the world, or are you just mad because you're not happy with the people that you're around? So I actually was in VP and assistant VP roles for many, many years. So about the last 20 years or so, I've been in high level roles in organizations. I worked for one company for about 10 years, had a really good time, then found myself at another company where, I thought I was going to have a good time, but morally and ethically just didn't line up with what I believe here, in my heart. And I think when you get to that point, you have some critical decisions to make. So a big part of my job is, we come in and we essentially evaluate people when you find things that go wrong a lot. And I found myself in a position where we were finding so many things that were just wrong. And in finding the things that were wrong, sometimes people get to a point where they shoot the messenger, right?
Yeah.
So the person that's delivering the bad news. And for me, I know one of my problems, and when I say problems, I say that loosely, I'm very logical. So you have to know what type of environments you like. I like logical environments. I don't like people who come in with fluffy stuff. I feel like this. I don't know what you feel. Well, what's the truth? So I found myself in an environment that was very emotional. That's not good for me. I don't do well with that fluffy stuff. So it came to a point, quite frankly, where I was so unhappy They were unhappy with all the things that my team was uncovering. Either either I was going to leave or they were going to fire me. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
So you have to really make critical decisions in life. And you just realize that security, you're not secure anyway at a job. So a lot of people say,
No.
I am so secure. No, you're not. You're not secure.
And I believe, like, COVID-19 has showed us, like, not, you cannot get nothing, take nothing for granted. I mean,
Right.
your permanent position, your comfortable position, the COVID-19 crisis just wiped it out, right?
Yep.
So there is no such thing as security anymore.
There's no such thing as security, but I will tell you, a lot of people are afraid because they wonder, how am I going to make money? What are my friends going to think? Look, here's the deal. You shouldn't give a crap what your friends are going to think, honestly. It's your life. You have to live your life in a way that best suits you. So if you can get past that, then you have to get in a hustle mode. You need to get some clients. You need to build a support system and a network. But as far as the thing about what your friends might think, who cares? And I don't mean to sound crass with that, but they don't live your life. They don't know what kind of stress you're under. They don't know, what your financial situation looks like. They don't know the intimate details of your life. And if they're judging, then, maybe they weren't friends to begin with.
They are not that. I like to say, if they don't support you, or if they judge you, then they are not your people. It's time to assess who do you surround yourself with and to move on. But let's back up a little bit. You said a couple of things that are very interesting here. First of all, you were in a corporate environment that you feel you were not aligned with anymore, right? And I do believe this will resonate with a lot of people, where they know that what they are doing is not aligned with who they truly are. And this is the perfect recipe, unfortunately, for being unhappy at work, right? And all the consequences that it can have on your family, on your well-being, on your mental health, and all of this. Then, there is no such thing as being secure anymore, right? We know it now. And we will talk a little bit about it later, but the purpose of building a personal brand also is to create multiple stream of revenues. So when something doesn't work, you have still money coming into your bank account, right? That's what the real meaning of personal branding. It's about positioning yourself in a way that you can work on the 9 to 5, but then you can be hired for speaking engagement, or you can consult on the side. You can do so many things, because people know you and they know what you are good at. And one of your strengths, clearly, Rob, is that you know what you are good at. But before you said it to me
Really?
again.
No.
Before we go deeper, let's look at the comment from our awesome community. So we have people coming from Montreal, from France. Bonjour. And it's late actually in France. We have people coming from Houston, Texas. We have Rollis, Mohammed. So
Hey,
here,
Rollins.
Mohammed, great topic. Muhammad Abdullah, can you please share the guest profile? Of course. Actually, if you look at my caption, you can click on Robert's LinkedIn profile, so you can connect with him directly. How to ask us some questions. So I'm going to ask you if you can share with us like the formula to ask better questions. How can we ask better questions? We're going to get to that. Again, here, okay, Muhammad, we will make this happen. No worries. We got you. We will make it happen. And we have Rollis also connecting from Texas. So,
Rollis.
Our friend Rollis, who is a live stream superstar on LinkedIn. Like,
You
really.
got that right. Yeah.
So connect with Rollis also. And if you don't watch his live streams, I strongly encourage you to do so, because they are like amazing, and Rollis is an amazing host. So let's get back to us. The transition, and so it was scary, but you knew it was time for you to move on. Otherwise, they would have fired you anyway. So that was a good calling. And one of your strengths, as I said, is that you know what you're good at. And that's something I found out. That's something that a lot of people struggle with. They are not, self-awareness. and being sure and 100% confident and aware about what you're good at, and what you're not good at also is as much important. But when you know what you're good at, it gives you, it gives you this thing that you can leverage to do whatever you want to do, right? Because you know that you can do it, you can make it happen. So now you mentioned briefly the fact that, okay, if the people you surround yourself with judge you, then they are not your people. It's time to assess who you hang out with, right? But tell us a little bit more about how you reframed, repositioned your personal brand. So were you using LinkedIn actively when you were working in corporate, or you decided to use LinkedIn once you made that transition and then you built up your personal brand from there?
So I'll tell you now, that's a really, really interesting story. I actually started using LinkedIn way back in 2012 or 13 or something like that. And I was working for this one organization that did not understand it. I was using LinkedIn and Twitter, and they actually got a little upset that I didn't know that I was building my personal brand back then, because I don't think it was called that. I was just simply writing long form articles on my blog and on LinkedIn. And I got a lot of questions about that. I got called into the office, like you do at school when you get in trouble, right? And I explained it, and they were like, "Oh, okay." Because my whole pitch was, even back then, if I'm seen as a subject matter expert for what I do, then don't you look good as an employer for hiring someone who's a subject matter expert in our field? And they were like, "Oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense." So then fast forward to, but then I slowed down my LinkedIn activity and my Twitter activity, because I was thinking, well, I won't rock the boat. So then you fast forward to about 2019 or so. I picked back up again. And then, around 2020, when I knew I needed to pick back up, because now here I am doing this thing where I'm just doing different things, I started back again on LinkedIn, and I really didn't know what to post. And I started posting personal stuff as well as business stuff. And the personal stuff just started getting a little bit of traction. And I was thinking, who in the world wants to know who I am personally? Like, why do you care? Like, why do you care about that? I mean, I'm nobody, right?
Misconception number one when it comes to personal branding.
Right, exactly. And so then I told you before, January of 2020, I had a really nice paying client, and I had a couple of other things in the works with some really big agencies. And I was doing training, in-person training, and it was looking pretty good. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and we are no longer traveling. And I was like, oh crap, what do you do now? So I quickly transitioned to training online. So I was able to make that pivot real quickly. And it just went okay. I mean, so all of the clients that I had in the works, all of those deals fell through, right? Because we weren't doing training in person. And I mean, it was good money lined up too. I mean, it was good money. So the online, I was building that up. I started posting more on LinkedIn, and I started noticing the personal stuff was getting like views out the wazoo, but that's not going to really pay the bills, right? And I started doing what a lot of people do. You look at the view count. View count doesn't mean anything. It's the results, when people start to call. And I got to a point where I wanted to just give up. I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. I want to give up.
Oh, and I didn't know that part though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just wanted to give up. And then around November, I joined Growth Academy. And that's when it started to change mentally for me, but I wasn't doing anything. I just wrote a check and I said, okay, I'm joining Growth Academy. This group is going to help me grow. So I had some optimism in me, but I wasn't taking action. So you can be as optimistic as you want to, but if you don't take action, then that's nothing. And so around January, I said, okay, this is it. New year, let me start doing something different. And so I began mixing up the different things that I was posting. Some of it was about work and what I do as a professional, and some of it was just motivational stuff. And then I noticed people started calling me, hey, we have this group. We have some training that we need done. Can you do it? My first question, how much you paying? No, I'm just kidding.
But that's a good question. That's something that you want to know, though.
Yeah, it is something you want to know. But I mean, my first question really is to try and figure out if I can meet the needs of the
Of
organization.
course.
Because a lot of my training is for finance, accounting, and auditing professionals, but then some of it is motivational training and motivational speaking. But I started asking people, how did you find me? And they were like, we follow you on LinkedIn. And I started asking, what drew you to me? And they would literally tell me, well, first, we like the motivational stuff that you posted, so we figured you must be a kind of nice person. It's like, okay, I'm not nice. No, I'm just kidding. But and then they saw the business stuff and they said, well, we know that you know what you're talking about because we saw some of your very short, informative training videos. So I was like, oh, this thing really does work, right? Sharing some of who you are. Oh. And so then I was still in Growth Academy, and Shanae Murray, founder of Growth Academy, she would tell us to do certain things, and I would say, I don't want to do that, but I would do it anyway, right? And she had us showing up on video. She had us varying our videos. Sometimes we'd be outside just doing casual things. Sometimes we'd be going to check the mailbox. Like, nobody wants to see that. But then people started commenting, because when I'm outside, there are birds chirping all the time. And people would start commenting on simple things like that. Hey, we hear birds chirping in the background. That's so beautiful. Like, really?
Really? Who cares?
You're interested in that? Okay, great. I can do that. So, just a good mix of things. Some personal, some professional, some good stuff, some bad stuff. Some here's what it takes to succeed in our careers. And some here's what you can do that will doom you to failure. But people started calling. And I'm a bad salesperson. I don't want to call people and beg for business. And so I'm good with people calling me, but not. So, yeah, I think that was kind of the aha moment was people want to know you because they want to know, like, and trust you as a person. And the more they like you, the more they trust you, the more they really want to do business with you. And the whole time I was thinking, why do you want to know me? You want to know what I can do? No. You want to know me. You want to see that I'm a genuine person, if you think I am. And then you want to see that I'm competent. So, yeah.
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, it's people working with people doing business with people. And so we want to know if we will get along with this person, if, we appreciate some qualities that we see in this person before we even think about doing business with this person or hiring this person for such and such, right? And so you said that people started to calling in, and they started, to commenting, engaging with your content. But how about your existing network? Did you see any difference in the way your existing network would communicate with you? Did you receive any comment, any messages? Hey, Rob, what's going on, guy? How did it go with your existing network?
I've got to say, the people who were in my network have always been good people. So I didn't really have that many issues. I think I had a couple friends call and say, hey, man, what are you doing? But it wasn't in a judgmental way. It was really, I'm just curious. And when I explained to them what I was doing, my friends were just like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. So I didn't have any issues. But I do have friends who have said, yeah, my friends keep asking me, why am I posting this kind of stuff on LinkedIn and it's not appropriate for LinkedIn, or why am I talking about personal things? I have friends that have gone through that, but I didn't have that issue. I know good people.
That's great. So you know who you surround yourself with. And I see it often. The people you surround yourself with can make you or break you. So if you don't feel the vibe anymore, like, change your people. That's okay. That's okay. We evolve and grow in a way that at some point, even if it's hard, you have to let some people go in order to make some new space for different people to come into your life and take you to different next levels of professional and personal growth. And that's totally normal. That's what life is about, right? And we grow at a different pace. And We don't have the same life objectives, professional objectives. So if you feel like people, you are scared to do it or to start showing up, or to start being on video or start sharing your personal life, and I want to really precise that sharing your personal life has nothing to do with sharing your private life. This is a big
Right.
misconception that there is out there, where people are like, yeah, but I don't want to show my kids, or I don't want to let people know what's happening in my life. And that's okay. Your private life is meant to be private. But your personal life, when we talk about sharing your personal life, it's about sharing your experiences, your life experiences
Yep.
related to, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the barriers that you faced at some point in your life, but that have helped you become the person that you are today. For example, something that I like to share with my community is my morning routine. I go on a morning walk every morning, 6 a.m. all year long, when it's minus 40 degrees, snowing, like freezing out there. And during summertime, I'm always out at 6 a.m. in the morning. But I like to share that because this is part of who I am. This is me working on my routine, working on being healthy, working on implementing habits. And all of these things that I do contribute to helping me become a better person, right?
Right.
So when
Yep.
we talk about personal stuff, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. There is a huge difference between personal stuff and private stuff. Like I shared the other morning, I said I felt like a failure. Felt like a
Yeah.
failure because, and I know a lot of people commented on that, but I was supposed to have something delivered to someone, and I wasn't going to be able to make it on that date. And to me, that's something that's personal. It's not private, but it was a personal feeling. Now I reached out to them and I said, I'm not going to have this today. But because I'd kept them in the loop, they were okay with it. And I just shared that, and who knew it would get the kind of reception that it got. People were like, oh, no, you're okay. We all fail. Right. We do. Um, but yeah, there's a difference between sharing that and sharing, well, something that's private.
Exactly. And you will see me and Robert, like, every day. We are every day on LinkedIn consistently, but you would know nothing about our private life. And that's the beauty of it. And that's what I like with LinkedIn compared to Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube. It's where you don't feel the pressure that you have to show your private life in order to become popular or to have likes or to whatsoever, because the dynamic and the objective is different. So that's the beauty of LinkedIn. And if you're not using LinkedIn actively, because we are multi-stream today on multiple platforms, I strongly encourage you to start, like, being active. Start posting on LinkedIn, and you will see. And what I liked also about what you said, and I can relate to this so much, is that I don't want to be calling chasing people, like, don't want to be calling chasing clients, right? I hate that. You can be an entrepreneur, you can be good at what you do, but you don't want to be doing the selling, right? And LinkedIn, when you are strategic about showing up, creating content, building your personal brand, is that people will come to you. As you said, they will call you, they will get in touch with you, they will say, hey, let's get on a call because we have this and this. Like, I have like inbound leads almost every day, right? Or at least every week, because I'm consistent. And I'm sure it's the same with you, Robert.
Yeah, well, and make no mistake, we are still selling. However, what we're doing is we're saying, here's what I'm good at. If you need me, call me, versus, hey, you might need me. I'm not sure. It's like getting those Bitcoin emails in your inbox. Like, why do people do that?
Yeah,
Does that really work? Seriously, I
I
don't
don't
want your
know.
Bitcoin, right? So it's like doing that versus saying, hey, I'm a Bitcoin person. If you need Bitcoin, come to me, right? It's the difference between that.
Yeah, and we have Rolis who says, Merci beaucoup. Did you know that Rolis speak French? He speaks French. I'm
Yeah.
humbled, Darine and Robert. You are both amazing. Yeah, all of us, we are amazing. We are doing our best. And also, what makes the difference is that we position ourselves from a place of service, like we put our expertise to the service of people. And it makes a huge difference in the relationship that you can build with the people in your network. So we are hitting the 30 minutes mark. So now tell us, how do we ask better questions so we can get better answers and make
Oh.
more informed decisions? That's what we want to know. What's the
Well,
secret sauce?
here's the secret. You buy my book.
You know what? I was expecting that answer. So for people who want to work with you, hold on. Let me put it in the comment. I can put the comment here. Yeah. So what's your website?
My website is thatauditguy.com.
Okay, that's auditguy.com. Here you go.
But you know what? Here's what I will say. In all seriousness and in all honesty, what happens is when we want to know something, we approach it from a point of selfishness. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, so let's just picture someone who is married and you are a morning person and your spouse is a night person. What do you end up doing? So, Darine, are you a morning person or a night person?
Early morning like person.
Yeah,
definitely.
morning person. So let's just say if you were involved with someone who was a night person, what would you do in the mornings when you got up? What you would do is you nudge them. That's what you do. And then as soon as they woke up, you pretend like you were just kind of rolling around in the bed and somehow you just jarred them on accident. And then you say, can we talk? Now, you wouldn't get a good answer from them because you know that they're a night person. So, and that's what we do in conversations with people. We come at it from a place of being selfish, how we would like to ask questions, what time frame is good for us, the method of communication that's good for us, instead of thinking about them and catering our communication to them. That's one of the biggest secrets, and that's what I'll tell you. One thing I learned from years of being an auditing professional is catering your questioning technique, your timing, your tone to the person that you need to ask the question of. And I just think the example of being in a relationship with someone where one person's a morning person, one person's a night person, it's a perfect example. I use it in my training, and I usually set people up. I'll pick somebody in the audience and ask them the question, and it never fails. You'll get somebody who is married to someone who is the opposite of them, and it never fails. They wake that person up in the morning or at night, depending on what they are. And I tell them that's selfish. You can't expect to get a good answer from someone if you're approaching them from a selfish standpoint. So that's kind of your biggest.
So to your point, actually, you have to choose the right timing, right moment based on the other person when you want to get the answer you are looking for, or at least a better answer for your question.
Yeah. Well, and in a business setting, there's a lot more to it than that, right? Because what we do is, if we are in charge of a department full of people, we feel like we always have to be the one to take the lead and ask the questions. And I'll tell you, when I've had departments with people, I would have certain clients that I liked and certain ones that I just didn't like because the personalities didn't mesh. So what I would do is I would send the person whose personality matched the client's personality to go and talk to the client. That's just called good delegation. So there's a lot more to asking questions than simply asking questions.
Yeah. And there is another book also that is very good. I think it's a crucial conversation, essential conversation, something like this, that is really good also for conversation. But if you want to know how to ask better question, if you need that audit guy, who is really good at what he does, contact Robert on his website, or you can connect with him on LinkedIn. Okay. Very approachable, very nice person. I know sometimes he tries to pretend that he's not nice, but that's not true. Don't trust him.
I am not a nice person.
He's not. So that's all for us. Do you have like one last word that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap it?
Ooh, one last word. Yeah, I think everyone should learn to ask better questions because the quality of your life is directly dependent upon the quality of questions that you ask.
True. Very true. And that's very powerful. Thank you so much, Robert, for spending these 30 minutes with us today for this episode number 7 already of the Stand Up from the Crowd with me. Yes, when you think that I applied 13 times, okay, people, 13 times, so don't get discouraged. When I see comment people, yes, I applied 2 times, 3 times, I'm like, I applied 13 times.
At once.
No. You know,
And
that's
they
not
approved me
fair.
in 3 days.
It took them 13 months to approve me. 13 months, people, to approve me, right? So we are into episode number 7. Thank you so much, Robert. For everyone, I will see you next week for a new episode of the Stand Out from the Crowd. And little backstory, actually, I named this live show Stand Up from the Crowd because of him, because of that Audit Guy. Yes, because my show was supposed to be called the Smart Woman Talk, or the Smart Woman Show, actually. And he reached out to me and he said, by calling your show this way, like some people and some men may feel excluded when you share like very valuable content. So that would be great to have something that is more inclusive, right?
But you know what I actually did, though? I actually asked you a question first. I asked you, is your primary audience women, or do you want to serve men too? See, you have to ask better questions.
Yes. And so I didn't have an answer to that question because I work with women, but I want to be inclusive, right? Because I know my content is universal and can help everyone. So I was like, okay, you know what? I will come up with something different so everyone can join. And I'm very happy that I've made this decision. So thank you, Rob, for pushing me, to do things better.
I'll send you my bill.
You don't know where I live. So thank you, everyone. And if you don't know how to build your personal brand, so we have been talking about personal branding. If you don't know where to get started, if you are confused, I will put the link below. Download your free standout blueprint. So it's a 5-step blueprint for you to get started with your personal brand and to set up a strong baseline to your personal brand. Because before you start posting, you have to have a clear idea and a clear direction of what you want to achieve with your personal brand if you want to make it work. Okay, I will put the link down below. Robert, thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.